Hello, people, and welcome back. This week, we're digging more into investment clubs and the key things you need to consider if you're thinking about starting an investment club. And I'm going to be sharing with you three really important steps, three very important steps to invest successfully with anyone, even with strangers, right? Because trust me, this isn't just about your friends. Sometimes your friends might not actually be willing to go on that journey with you. And then sometimes your friends might also not be the right people to, be talking about money with or investing money with, because you do have to be careful when it comes to some things. But even if you're investing with friends, trust me, you want to learn how to do things correctly. You want to understand the right framework, right? Which I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. Now, the very first step is, who are the people you are thinking of starting an investment club with, right? How do you consider membership? How do you consider people who are going to be part of your investment club? Now, like I said, they might be friends or they might be colleagues, right? I have seen people start investment clubs with office colleagues. They might be siblings, right? People do start investment clubs with their brothers or their sisters, their moms, their parents, right? You might be family, right? It might be with your husband, right? I mean, you can start an investment with anybody. But what's really important is when you define membership, there are key things you need to consider under membership. The very first thing is mindset, right? How do they think about money, right? And you might think that, yeah, I know this person. Well, sometimes you have to be careful. There are some people that you know, every month end, they come to ask you, please, can you, lend me some money? They always come, like, you know them. Whenever there's anything new to buy, they're always buying. Do you really want to start an investment club with someone like that? You have to be very clear, right? And even if you're going to consider starting with someone like that, you have to be very clear on, this is what we're getting into. This is how you have to consider the mindset. Because really, when you're starting an investment club, you are consolidating funds. So you don't want to have to start consolidating your funds and the next person is owing on the funds that should have been consolidated, and then you have to borrow the person money. It just gets very, complex and complicated, and you don't want that. So the mindset is so key. How is this person with money? When they think about money, what do they think about? Is it just, oh, let's make money to spend, or let us build, a portfolio of assets, that will provide cash flow for other things? Get that right, people. It is so key. And the next thing is, you need to have a very, very, very clear investment objective with the people that you're investing with. It's not enough to just say that, let's start an investment club. It's really cool to have an investment club. Let's just decide to invest in stocks. Let's decide to invest in this. Let's decide to invest in that. No. You have to be clearer than that. You have to have a very clear investment objective. What is our goal? What do we want to achieve with this investment club, right? Do we want to ensure that, we're building a portfolio that will provide cash flow? For instance, one of the clubs that I have worked with were a group of friends, elderly people, and for them, they wanted to invest in owning real estate that they could leave as an inheritance to the next generation. It was very clear. I have also worked with investment clubs where the goal was, we simply want to invest in businesses. Very clear. I have worked with investment clubs where it's a case of, well, we just want to, have a defined timeline over a 2-3 year period. We build up money, we buy assets, and that's it, we're done. And then some people, it's more like it's a lifetime thing. So for instance, one of the clubs that started really early in Nigeria is Investment 1971 Limited. One of the people that follows me on social media reached out to me and said, oh, my dad has actually had an investment club since the 1970s. I was so, happy to hear that, because a lot of times we find a lot of information about investment clubs outside the country, but it was so great to hear about an investment club that started in 1971 in Nigeria. And guess what? They were social friends, because then there were a lot of social clubs in Nigeria, Ikoyi Club, Lagos Island Club, they just all used to meet in social clubs, but they decided to take it higher than just being a social club. So a group of them decided to come together and start an investment club. Since 1971, now they're all in their 70s, right? And they actually wrote a book about it. She gave me a copy of the book. But it was so interesting to read and learn that right there in the 1970s, people were actually going beyond the social scene to start investing together. Now, their story was really interesting, because I found out that I think about 2 decades ago, they started to lose money on their investments. And I'll get into that in the course of my videos. But for me, it was just great that it wasn't just social, right? Social interactions, but it was them starting an investment club together. So back to, defining an investment objective. Please, you have to be very clear. What is our investment objective? Which means you also have to discuss, and do we have similar investment objectives? Because if we do not have similar investment objectives, we're going to have issues down the line. You don't want to get to the point where it's like, oh, but I did want to invest in this, but you told us to invest in this, but I wasn't really clear about it, or it wasn't really something I wanted to do. You have to be very clear, discuss all of these things up front. And the final thing on membership is, how many people do you need, right? Do you really need 20, 30 people? I think the ideal number is an odd number, if you ask me, just so that when you're taking votes, you have that odd number that can keep things balanced, right? So maybe 3, 5, 7, but you have to be really careful, because when it goes beyond the double digits, it becomes a crowd, right? And there are community investment clubs, but that's very different from you starting your own small niche investment club to build up something that you want to do together, right? So membership is a very important step. What kind of people am I investing with? How many people am I going to be starting an investment club with? Do we have a very clear investment objective? Do we all think about money the same way? Do we have the same goals? Do we have the same values? Very key, right? Now, the second step is the legal structure. And honestly, an investment club is not informal, please. It's not just, we just, start an investment club. We just put money in somebody's account. This person, I trust this person. No, guys. You know that when it comes to money, even your best friends, right? And I don't want to get into relationships and how money affects relationships, but money always brings out the real people. Like even people that but I've known this person for years and you see friendships break up, relationships break up, all because of money. So it's important that you have a clear legal structure. Now, there are options on what you decide to register your investment club as, and speak to a lawyer to make the right decision. So 4 major options that I know of limited liability company, which has, its pros and cons, right? Because with a limited liability company, you have tax liabilities or tax responsibility. And if this is simply an investment club to invest, you don't want that additional responsibility, right? Then there's also the limited partnership. That is something you should consider as well. Although you do have to have a general partner, and then every other partner has sort of like limited tax liabilities. Then there is the core partnership that you can consider as well. And then I think the final option is a cooperative society, which in some countries might require a minimum of 15 people or more. So you do want to speak to your lawyer or a legal counsel to get the right legal structure for your investment club. It's important that it is registered legally with every member of the club either signed on as a limited shareholder or a partner, depending on the structure you choose to go with. And that gives you a corporate status to open a bank account, and that also gives you the corporate status to ensure that when you're investing as an entity, right? It's not just an investment made in someone's name, but we started an investment club and then you cannot lay claim to it because it's not in your name. You just don't want all of that mess to happen. So yes, a legal structure is important. And under legal structure as well, you have to define a clear legal constitution for your club. All members do have to sign agreements. Please, this legal fine print is so key, because I have seen investment clubs with friends that have, ran into issues, and it was really the legal fine print that saved a lot of emotional issues that could have come up, right? Because it was simple. What does the legal agreement state? And that is what we will work with. It wasn't a case of I feel like or I don't feel like. No, legal fine print. So your legal structure is so key, right? When you're thinking about an investment club. Now the final step, money, because really that's what an investment club is, right? Consolidating funds to invest in deals. Now this can be very, very delicate, right? Which is why the very first point was very important. What kind of people am I starting an investment club with? Because you want to define how much are we contributing to the common purse, right? How much do we want to consolidate? So for instance, if you are investing in a real estate opportunity and the real estate opportunity is 10 million or 50 million, right? Or $20,000 or something, you want to decide, are we splitting it equally or are we allocating to each person according to what they can afford? All of those things are so important when you are thinking about starting your investment club. So please, as much as it sounds exciting to do something with your friend or colleagues because you want to take advantage of more opportunities together, right? You want to ensure that it is clearly defined. Are we all contributing equal contributions, right? Because that means we all have equal votes, equal rights to everything that we invest in? Or are we going to allocate it based on what each person can afford? Or better still, you can define it in terms of units and say I own, or shares, right? I own 2 shares that are worth this amount of money, and then you own 10 shares that are worth this amount of money. So the units of share, or the share unit, will be, a basic price. So for instance, if we take that a unit price is 1,000. So if I own 10,000 units, you know what that equates to. If you own 2,000 units, you know what that equates to. And that can determine how you contribute to the consolidated purse. Now, all of this, right, the contribution that you decide on is really determined by what your investment objective is, right? If you have a clearly defined investment objective, then yes, you can decide and say that this is how much each person contributes. So, for instance, one of the investment clubs that I have worked with, a group of colleagues, work colleagues, they ran into an opportunity, or they stumbled. I like to use that word because it was just something that came into the office, and someone was looking to raise money from, the office, and then they decided that, what, guys, we also need to be part of this opportunity. And it was a real estate opportunity, and they thought, what, guys, my friend, or the person I know, just thought, what, I can't afford this opportunity myself, but this is such a great opportunity, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. And guys, that's the thinking. It's not just, oh, this is so expensive, it's above my paycheck, it's above my budget, I can't afford it. It's more like, how can I afford it? That's the way to think. How can I afford it, right? And that was the way she decided to think. And she thought, I would pull my friends, my colleagues together, and we can do this together. And that's what they did. Each person brought the amount they could afford, and they broke it down per square meter. You have 10 square meters, you have 20 square meters, and it's all duly captured in a legal agreement, right? So these 3 steps are so key: membership, legal structure, contributions, right? All of this would help you in defining how you start an investment club. And of course, you want to think about how you manage the investment club, because it's not enough to just start. You have to manage, you have to grow. There's so many factors that come into managing and growing, and all of that you can get in my book on how to, start an investment club, right? I hope this has been useful. If you have a question or a comment, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.